And you set up this new business, this PsychSafety Solutions, and I'm going to put you both on the spot a bit. what sort of brought you both together and to start this sort of company to really make that change for businesses?
Did you want to go first, Mike?
Sure, absolutely.
Yeah.
A bit of a backstory to that question. It's a great question, Michael. I worked for a number of years as a behavioural health management psychologist, and in that space, I came across and worked with a number of people who had been basically burnt by their organisational experiences, their business experiences. I made a conscious choice to transition out of psychology into leadership in organisations because of a real desire to make a difference with the teams that I would be leading, to create that safe space and hopefully avoid case studies of the future. It was all about trying to build an environment where people felt safe to come to work as their best self, to use that sort of phraseology.
Yeah, and I think I'm reflecting back, what I'm hearing anyway is that sort of burnout, that where they're going into work and they're just got their head down, bum up, just trying to get everything done and just out of trouble.
Absolutely. Yeah. Great point. Stay out of trouble is a red flag indicator that it's not a safe environment.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
And I think that's the difference between having performance standards and accountability, but no psychological safety. You will see staff that are burning out. You will see higher attrition rates. And the reality is you're not as productive as an organisation or a team that you could be. And I know from my own experience, particularly growing up, I was in corporate for 25 years, and I started at a time where there was no diversity and inclusion discussion, or if there was, I certainly wasn't hearing about it. And as a female, particularly working in male-dominated areas, there were many times, I would say predominantly, where I actually didn't feel safe, and I had to adopt a certain persona just to sort of survive in that world. So I had firsthand experience, what it feels like to be monitoring what you say and what you don't say, and not feeling like I could ever bring my whole self to work. And I know as a leader, the number one reason, I remember the aha moment where I went, okay, this is why I want to be a leader. And it was to create the change that I wanted to see in the world. And it was to be able to create teams where all of my staff felt safe to speak their truth and contribute. And, so I saw firsthand the difference between having teams and how teams felt and how they operated when you had psychological safety. And then I experienced even myself, and I'm pretty sure most people could say out in the workforce that they've also had experiences where they have not been feeling free that they could contribute. And I think that was one of my driving factors when I decided to leave my corporate career I think it was a year ago. I'm getting up in all of the lockdowns. I've lost track of where we are.
Which lockdown?
Yeah.
And it was the founding, for Quantum Leap Global. That's why I was like, I just want to focus on igniting human and business potential. And then when I met Mick through a mutual colleague, and we just connected, we are very values aligned. We have the same vision for workplaces and for people. And we have a very strong passion that this is the new future, this is the new norm, and this is how you ignite the potential of individuals, teams, and organisations. So that's sort of how PsychSafety Solutions was born, and it's something that we're both really passionate about.
Absolutely, and I think building on what Marianne said, that concept of having walked through the valley and being able to talk to leaders as leaders ourselves was one of the great attractors in terms of forming the company, because it's really about authenticity when you're talking. we could talk from textbooks. You can go and Google, and you will be overwhelmed. One of my favourite words from last year was infobesity.
Yeah.
I haven't heard of that one.
let's stamp out infobesity if we do nothing else.
Wow. Yeah.
And I think that's an important point, is that we have walked the talk. So while all of our approaches and our programs are evidence-based, we also know that not every environment is the same, and it requires our approach to be bespoke and fitted to the organisation or to the team. And it's also scalable depending on where people are at. So I think, if we look at psychological safety, it's sort of that continuum. Is that the right word? Have I got the right word there?
It is.
You're never always here and you're never always there. It's like a constant need for not only building psychological safety, but maintaining and sustaining it as well. So and that's what we're really passionate about, is working with leaders, because typically leaders want their employees to thrive. So we work with those types of leaders to actually go, here are some of the behaviours and the tools to really equip them with the know-how to sort of build and sustain psychological safety.
Yeah, wow. Thank you for sharing that.